Hello, everyone. Welcome. So this is part 2 of a synopsis of this week's Dancing with the Stars. And as I mentioned in my previous video, they did something different this week, which I loved. They had a bonus round, which is not a thing in real competition, but the bonus round was structured a little bit more like real ballroom dance competition. So I'll discuss why that is and then why the dancers who placed higher did place higher. So what they did is for the final couples remaining in this week's episode, they separated them into pairs of 2. So, for example, this couple versus this couple. So there's 2 couples on the floor at a time. They dance to the same song and are assigned the same dance style. In real competition, of course, you would have up to 12 couples at a time in any given round, but I love that they're actually comparing apples to apples. This makes it so much easier to judge than comparing a steak with a fish fillet, with a pie. These are all different animals, so I love that they're running this a little bit more realistically this time. There were 7 couples that were left at the end of this week, so Ariana did get a vie. She did not have to dance this dance-off. She was automatically given the bonus 3 points. But for the other couples that danced against each other, so 3 sets of couples, the winner of each of those couples received a bonus 3 points. So first on the floor, we had Harry versus Allison, and they did a Roomba. And I love that they paired these 2 against each other. I felt it was very fair since they were, in my opinion, the weakest of the remaining dancers in this competition. So I love that they put them together on the floor. So it was a fair competition. Similar to real life, you are paired up with people of commensurate skill level. So in real life, you do not need to worry if you are an 80-year-old woman who has no dance experience being put on the floor up against a 20-year-old who's been dancing since she was 4. So I love that this is more realistic, just like real competition, okay? It was the best dancing, honestly, I've seen from both of them so far in this series. Both are really on fire this episode. But in my opinion, Allison won what she did because she did more actual, real Roomba figures and dancing. Harry's moves were basically just a series of poses with Riley dancing around him. So with his weaknesses, she choreographed to the best of her ability to show him off. But in a legitimate ballroom dance competition, the judges do have an expectation level of seeing identifiable figures, or at least figures that would be representative of what that dance should look like. And Allison brought that home. So she got the 3 points. Our next couple on the floor was Jason versus Barry, and they did a salsa. And again, I loved this pairing because it was a male pro-am dancer versus a male pro-am dancer. Again, more representative of what you would see in real life ballroom dance competition on the pro-am circuit. Unless you were doing like an open gold star scholarship event, the pro-am men would go up against other pro-am men, which in my opinion is most fair since the man's job is quite a bit different than the lady's job. Also in pro-am, unless you're dancing with a Sasquatch, your lady can't really manhandle him around the floor to make him dance well, at least as much as a male pro-am can do to a lady female program, because even if she's a little bit heavier set, she's not going to be physically as strong as him in terms of muscle mass. So I loved that they put Barry up against Jason. Very fair. Honestly, it was great dancing from both of them. I would say due to Barry's past performance, for him, it was his best dancing ever. For Jason, maybe not up to his number one potential, but certainly if it were judged singularly on the dancing that we saw, Jason would have won. However, the judges this week, in my opinion, took into account the progress of the competitors since the beginning of the show. And so for Barry, it was absolutely his best dancing ever. I think they're holding Jason to a little bit higher standard because obviously the man is a trained dancer and he started out much stronger. And honestly, I feel it's fair to give Jason a handicap, not only due to his experience dancing, but also his age. And again, in real ballroom dance competition, you would not pair a senior citizen with someone who is significantly younger. Again, unless this were an open scholarship event. And that statistically is quite uncommon. Usually you're in group flights with people of commensurate age and skill level, okay? Okay, finally on the floor, we had Sochi versus Charity. Again, I loved this pairing because these have been consistently the strongest two ladies of all of these ones that are dancing this rematch. So very fair comparison. They're not, like they're 2 years apart, but they're of similar physical abilities in terms of their age, as well as their talent levels. It looks to me like they have a similar level of training background in dance. So very fair matchup. I loved that. These two were given a cha-cha. Charity was obviously the stronger of the two this week. Not that Sochi didn't rock it. She did great too, but it was an easy call for me, and I think the judges were spot on this one. Why? Well, Charity showed better torso extension, better speed, better standing leg action. And I loved seeing them side by side because in a 2-hour show doing solos, if I see them dance an hour and a half apart, I can hardly remember what Sochi did by the time Charity comes to the floor. So loved seeing them side by side like a real comp. Much easier to judge. So if you're interested in kind of the final episode results, I did post that yesterday afternoon. I'll post a link below. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. If you're a big fan of ballroom dance stuff, subscribe. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.